Why, hello. Let's get things all squared away here. I forgot to open a terminal again and start Podman. It's one of them days, apparently. Okay. Get this going. Get this going. Get you going. Just in case we need that. Because every time I forget, I wind up needing it. And I'm always confused why everything is broken for, a half a second. Alright, and then let's get rocking and rolling here. So we got this working. I'm really, really happy with this so far. Less so with that, but it is what it is, right? I'm pretty sure that's a cogent bug. We're still kind of waiting on a lot of the little stuff to do with layouts and parent widths and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's fine. Because that shouldn't change that at all, right? It just so happens that it does the first time. And then it stops. So actually we can inspect and just actually take a look and kind of challenge our assumption there. Here, you, and then you. Yeah, you don't really have anything. This stretches out to fill. Look at the style. Just set to grow. Do we get the same? Yeah. So nothing changed there. It just decided to shrink. Pretty sure it's a cogent bug. If not, we'll dig into it later. Kind of polish. But come over here. We need to get in the bottom section, which will have things like the unsaved changes notifier and the revert, apply, delete buttons. And we've got an add new already that we need to hook up. But that's kind of where we are right now. That, and that, and that, and I think this needs to stay. No, this is skills and attributes. That can go. That can go. That can go. That, I think we're done with for now. We'll look at this omitting empty here when we do this. Which actually might have been why it's not done yet, because I didn't have an easy way to test which way I liked better, right? All the things Lego bricking together, starting to come together, feels really good. Shell. Setting into page value. We also need to fix that eventually. We won't do this in this branch, but we need to fix that. In fact, let me make myself a boog for that. editor, main page, skills and attributes label doesn't fit oh my gosh, I can't type today. There we go. Inside of its button. Figure that out. There we go. Okay. The next thing. We need to open up item details, which you're already in. Make sure we're in the right package here. Status effects. Yes. Okay. So, in this gigantic constructor here, or maker, we need to add the next frame. This will be, we'll call it footer. Like so. And then, okay, so we're going to have a styler here to tell you to grow on both. Ooh, actually, just the X. Now, inside of here, we're going to need like 2 halves, right? So let's also do a grid, oops, and then 2 columns. So this will become we're also going to need to store this because we already have status bar. Let's call it that. Because it looks like we are, oops, already set up for this, right? When we do this, we do that. We do a new frame here off of W. This is where the text lives. Do we have unsaved changes tracked in here? We do. Perfect. Kind of keep following that pattern. Chuck a styler on you. Grow on the X. That's all we need. No, I lied. We need to center all as well. We now do new text in notification frame. Set text. Text.styler. And then we do let's do this, let's say 14 maybe. What have we been doing? Have we been consistent? Skills and attributes, item details. It's in our buttons area. Warning text. No, we haven't changed you here. The other place we would have this would be in the forms. Or no, that wouldn't be the case. You'd have it in the templates. Template manager is not the correct place. View grid, room form. Status text. We haven't done change it here either. Okay, so we haven't been changing it, so we're gonna leave it alone then. We will do the same. It's not that. It's color. I think it's on. I shouldn't have closed that. Info status text scheme.error.base. And then this is the inverse of unsafe changes here. So if unsafe changes is true, then invisible is false. We'll comment this out for just a second so that we can make sure it lines up correctly. Here in a second. We'll also do a frame for button. No, we don't want to do center roll. Just grow. And then we're going to have the reset button. You go in button frame. That guy. We need to do zero the radius so it's nice and square like all of our other buttons. This won't be saved though. It'll be apply. No icon, but set text, apply. Zero the radius on that, and then wait, no, this one we don't change the color. New button for delete, also in button frame. Set text, not that. Set icon. Delete. Zero the radius on the border. Background. equals colors dot scheme. Hello world. Hello yourself there, Marco. How's today? Oh, and Misha too. How's Misha? How's Marco? How's everybody? How's the weekend? How's all the things? Am I doing today? About the same. Excited to be done jamming out this Status Effect UI. Good progress. Container, and then we do color on container, like so. Let's run this and see if we're in the right neighborhood. We forgot to do this. That'll help. It does feel like a 3-year endeavor. What is the timeline for the engine? I have no timeline. It only started in October, I think, of last year. And it wasn't like a thing I worked on every single day. I worked on it, fairly regularly, but not quite as much as I do now. Don't like that those don't line up. And it's because I didn't align center on this one. But guess my kids will be the one to use it then. I don't have kids yet. I mean, I don't think so. Like it's done when it's done, right? I just don't have a I don't think so. I just don't have like a firm due date, right? It's just got to be decent. We're getting pretty close to thinking more game thoughts than engine thoughts, right? The building the editors for the basic pieces will allow us to start consuming those editors and start experimenting with how the basic pieces feel, and see what we're missing, right? We'll probably do character-y things next, I think. And kind of figure out how we want to define like races and classes and do a character editor type thing. And then we'll be like thinking about how we build the world, probably. We need to do items. We need to do NPCs. But the like those are kind of just consuming most of the systems we already have, right? The only really big gnarly things we have left is map expansion, maps connecting to maps, because we need to have multiple different, zones to keep things sane, and figuring out how we want to make the whole everything talk to the game manager. But that's really like, we're like halfway to a decent engine already. How do I get used to the HDD making noises nonstop? You put headphones on and turn up the volume. Same way you get used to your car making noises, right? Hi, I love your art of showing up every day. Hey, thanks, I appreciate that. I try to be as consistent as life allows, and I try to make life allow it. um, think these will live over here. Let's just see how we like that, though. So we got that into column. We need to come back down here. You, Mr. Button Frame. Center there. And then justify items onto the end. See how that looks. Boop. Well, that ain't right. Is this my personal project? Yes. Why you no do the thing I tell you do? That is nearly the full width. It's the full width once this thing collapses like it wants to. Hmm. Did we not put you in? You're in notification frame. Why? Button frame. Button frame, button frame, button frame. Eyelash and my eyeball. Not super helpful. Make that behave itself really quick. Status bar. Correct. Frame 0. Because I bet it... Well, no. Do you also work like so I'm correct? No, I do not. I do not work right now. I'm looking for jobs. Um... I think this needs to grow in order for it to line up with this correctly. But I'm more confused by why you... Is it not items, but... content, perhaps? And let's make you... tell you to grow on both and see how that works. Yes, okay. That is correct. I don't know if I love unsaved changes being way over here, though. I don't want to do that. I want you to be... dash bar. As crazy as it sounds, I kind of want it to be over there. Submit this to Y Combinator so we can all party. See, I wouldn't do VC funding. Even if somebody was to walk up and be like, hey, I'm going to give you money, but I want a part of your company. I'd be like, no, I'm good. Because then they get to decide too many things, right? I hope you'll get one really soon. Me too. But, you know, we'll see. See how things work out. Annoying tiny fly. It's good that you've moved on. Nope, nope, here you are. It's one of those fast ones. I kind of want the unsafe changes to be over here next to this, I think. So, like, I would need to do... not button. New frame onto W. Something like this. Something like that. And then you still go into W. Actually, no. You would go away. No, we would need you because this is now the second frame. You'd have to do a text frame that would go into notification frame. Like so. And then tell you maybe centered all. Don't know for sure just yet. But now you would go into text frame. And then you would go into notification frame, which is now the second half. You do all your magic still. See how we like that. Closer to what I like. What I see in my head. Inspect this and make sure. That. So y'all aren't sharing 50-50 like you should be, really. So what we need to do is for our placeholder, it's not actually grow. Not that. We need to do that. And then let the other grow to fill it up. It's a little better. Get rid of that little wiggle there. I would like this to have a little bit of padding, I think, in the horizontal. And I think I want this to go over justified to the end as well. Style center, content, styles end, button frame, set horizontal, let's say 20. Little much. About to replace Windows. Oh, full screen got me. Windows with Linux/Nix OS. If everything goes right, I'll be back in 1 to 2 hours. If not, I'll be hunting for boars and doing cave paintings for the month. Well, good luck. If you join the Discord on your phone, you can ask Ash. He runs Nyx, I believe. If he's around, you can ask him questions if you get too stuck. Wanted your opinion. If anyone wants to learn Go or other programming language, how should he proceed? Like, just start with projects and learn on the way, or complete the language and then start building. So what I like to do is I like to do some learning material to kind of like prime the pump, right? And it also really depends on what your experience level is with other languages as well. But I'm really careful not to get stuck in tutorial hell, but I do a little bit of something to kind of just get me going, and then I start building my own project, because that's much more interesting to me, right? Because that's the whole reason I do this, is I like to build stuff. So that helps to keep me engaged and motivated. If I was going to pick up a new language right now, what I would do, let me get this open here. There's a couple things. I think it's, yes. I'll drop this in chat, and I'll get to your message in a second here, Misha. I'll drop it in both chats. So if you go to explore languages here, I would pick one that has a learning mode, probably, but I wouldn't be too scared if I knew other languages, right? So Go has one. So you can do some of this, and if we look at the track here, there's learning mode, and then there's practice. I would do some of this. I might do the whole learning mode tree if I really felt like I wanted to kind of get like a quick overview. The other thing that you can look at is this, and I'll drop a linky in both chats. And so if you wanted to learn Go, for example, there's a bunch of stuff here that you can look at as you go. And I would use this to fill in things like when I got to, oh, I need to marshal and unmarshal JSON for the project I want to build, I would look in here. There's free resources, and others there are, some things have paid resources. They're called premium, but there's a lot of free stuff for Go, apparently. And I'm just striking out and finding a node that has paid stuff in it. But those are great resources to kind of find your way. But be careful of tutorial hell, and definitely have a project you want to build that's going to help you to stay motivated to keep grinding through the tough spots you're going to find where things are just frustrating, right? Well, it's good because I have a solution for my Raspberry Pi project. I just signed and explained my problems to Jippity, and it was literally just one little thing that was missing from getting the solution myself, so that was a bit frustrating. Maybe I should actually have followed a couple of tutorials on YouTube, because my problem literally was just a me not knowing how to use the language issue instead of a real issue. I'm curious what that issue was. That's what I was looking at. Let me just pull this over here so I can see the actual screen. We'll dig into you. I need to make you behave yourself really quick. Frame one. Okay, so now you guys are both 50-50-ish. Highlighting is broken. Cool. Love that. I almost want to just put this into the same frame, I think, to get it a little closer. If I do that, I'm going to have issues with getting my spacing, right? Turn that back up, go back in. Because these share... I know what I can do. Instead of having both of these grow, I think I can just do that and let them figure themselves out. Yeah, okay. That's better. Behave yourself really quick. Yeah, I think I like that. I think. I want this to be bigger, though. Can do this. About 16. How does that look? Kind of the same. Yeah. Make it hard to miss. Put that back in. And it should be disappeared, but not. Things shouldn't be in the wrong places. Unless I've forgotten something while I move them. Pretty good to me. Let's go ahead and commit that real quick. Lay out the status bar and buttons. This bar, warning text and buttons. All right. Now we need to wire up everything to actually do stuff and things. This will be on change. We do this. We do if this is false. We do this and we update the status bar. And this is going to be essentially the thing we need to do for everything. So let's actually make a function for this. It's fine. This will be I want to do this. Let me think here. I might want to do this. But I can't do that. Because I want to do this. But I can do this as a method. And that should allow me to still use it as the event handler, because it'll be a func. Takes an event. Alright, what's a mud? Multi-user dungeon. So one big thing that I was slowly coming up with it, however, I just not really want to know how to use them here is using channels. The bigger thing anyway was the Jippity wrapped the connections in a struct and started the read and write loop in a go routine in the constructor of that connection struct. Read loop throws the incoming messages in an incoming channel is handled by the server, and the write loop writes from an outgoing channel owned by the connection itself. For some reason, did not come with that system. I feel a bit stupid now because the solution makes so much sense, but I massively overcomplicated things, and that got me stuck. So yeah. Jibbity wrapped the connections in a struct. Started the read-write loop in a Go routine in the constructor of that connection struct. Yes. Read loop throws the incoming messages in an incoming channel handled by the server. You could do that, yeah. And the write loop writes from an outgoing channel owned by the connection itself. Hard to parse that a little bit. Like, I think I understand what you're talking about, but yeah. I mean that's what we do with message broker, right? When you create a new message broker, it does a thing, right? And then when you dispatch messages to it, it sends it out, right? And then anything that listens to this, like for instance a status effect manager, has a run loop where we create this manager object, and the last thing we do is fire off a Go routine to run the run loop. And whenever it gets a message, it just said it handles them as appropriate. So that kind of makes sense, yeah. Okay, so I was doing this. So the on change gets fed this thing, so we need to get rid of that. We just do this. I would have to have two of these if I wanted one to clear it. But we're only doing that in like one place, I think, so it's probably fine. How long have I been working on this project? I think since October. Sometime around there. Mid to late October, I think. Okay, so up here in our on change, instead of all this, whoop, we feed you set unsaved changes like that. Is it possible to contribute to it on GitHub? No, it's not. It's not public yet. On change, and I'm just gonna hope that I exposed the on change event and did it correctly, and if not, we'll fix it. I'm pretty sure I did, but label value container. Oops. Not child added on change. Thank you. We do that, and we also do that just to make sure. On change, set on safe changes. It's a bit hard to explain here in Twitch chat, but it really made a lot of sense to me. The at least good thing is that I think I really understood the system. So next time I won't have the same question. So maybe I'm not your typical vibe coder. I guess we'll find out, huh? And yeah, it would be hard without seeing code, right? It's always hard to talk about code that you're not directly familiar with without seeing it, you know? That's why I always laugh when sometimes people come into chat and they're like, I don't understand what's going on here. I'm like, well, of course you don't. You've been here for 10 minutes, you know? There's no way that you would be able to understand. Let's see here. Property chooser, do we wire you up? You don't change anything. Because you aren't the arbiter of whether or not this is set. You're just a helper for the property type chooser. No, backwards. Property type chooser doesn't do anything. Property chooser is the one. And we've got you. I guess maybe I didn't wire you up. Property chooser. Property chooser. Okay. Been here for a couple hours now and still never once had any idea of what you're doing right now. I mean, that's fair too. It's really hard to jump into the middle of things. Let's see here. I thought I wired you up to on change. Maybe not. You are now. Make sure I didn't do property type chooser. You could literally start writing horse Tinder right now and I would not notice. $1 million ideas. Horse Tinder. Update you. Ooh, I hope this doesn't fire just when it gets built. We'll find out. Type chooser doesn't get it. Modifier container, that's fine. Label this on change. Set unsaved. Stacks other switch. On change. Help text editor. On change. Set unsaved changes. On change. Set unsaved. On change. Set unsaved. ID does not get changed. It's not allowed. Modifier, spinner, duration value, time. Reset button. Let's wire this up so we can test easier. On click. Literally taking long methods to a whole new level day by day, huh? No. I'm pretty sure I have constructors bigger than this for a widget. This needs to, I think, just trigger an update. That should reload everything. Let's give this a shot. So no unsaved changes. If I change you, unsaved, reload, perfect. If I change this, nothing changes until I do this. I need to handle none here. I'm not sure I love this not firing a change either. I think I want it to, even though it's like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense from the data side. From the UI side, it makes more sense. To let you know you've changed something, you've made some kind of modification to the UI. I also think I want this to fire on, not on change, but on update. No, not update. The other one. Input? Same for all of those. These are more correct. On a reset, I need this to be reloaded. Because that doesn't work. The rest of this seems to be pretty good. And this guy needs to change also. So I didn't wire these up correctly yet. Okay. So, one thing at a time here. Let's look up that event that I need in the Kojin docs. I think it's on input or something like that. I always confuse them. Text. Text field rather. Snack bars, clear button, big text, font weight. Here, events. On change or on input. Yeah, on input. This one, this one, this one. That. Give that a shot. Yes, better. Excellent. Perfect. The watch video here. It's chooser send change. To the type, the type chooser sends a change. It should be firing always. This set items to valid items. That's because we don't clear anything. we need to clear this whenever we change the type chooser. Type chooser has those options. Okay. Empty chooser's one of them. Current item. Okay, yeah. So here, choose your items. Choose your item. Clear that. Let's make sure that works correctly really quick. So if I change this, then it resets. Perfect. Go away, toolbar. That's cool. There we go. If I change that, then we reset. And there are no... Yes, perfect. Doesn't trigger my reset, but we'll fix that. In fact, that's also right here. Set unsafe changes, pass you event. Doesn't really matter, but it's fine. And I don't know if I want to set that handle or not. Let's set a handle for now. Okay, so let's test that. And then we need to fix our custom tick dealio. I change this, unsafe changes, reload it, goes back. Perfect. Okay. Now, for this tick dealio. Nope, your text label. Vectoration, new widgets, over here to widgets. Send change does get triggered. Add button sends change. So why am I not getting... Delete button sends a change. Ah. We need to send a change if you... Actually, no, not here. Add button sends a change. We build these guys. Pick duration. New duration inputs. So on change, we pass it up. I think. Let's find out. So that has unsafe changes now. That has unsafe changes now. We need to fix the... Yeah, there we go. We also need this to trigger. Let me look at the... Duration input. Events. On change. That doesn't work for them either. Oh. That seems like a framework bug. Unless I can get a hold of the time picker. Page step is read only. Duration units. Unit. Isn't wired up to that. Updater on change. This binds to unit. Golang is, by the way, somehow really making a breakthrough in my university. A lot of professors are suddenly recommending it. Some even started using it as their primary language for their lectures. Job offers are still a bit lacking, however. Maybe there's hope that it does actually become a thing here so that I do not have to use Java or C# for the rest of my life. C# is fine, but Maven and Gradle still make me wish bad things on good people. I think it's because Go writes fast like Python. It's really understandable like Python, but has things like pointers and structs that are more like a C-like language. So like if somebody were to come to me and say, hey, I want to learn programming and I know nothing, I would say to try Python or Go, but look at Go first. Like if you bounce off of Go, try Python, but I would still say use Go first. Try Go first. But I'm biased because I love Go, so. Yes. Duration input. Set auto units. Where is your chooser? Here you are. Chooser item, lang, set item, set tooltip, updater. On change, it fires an update, but it doesn't fire the change. It doesn't pass the change up. Hi, how's your day? Hope you're doing good. I'm all right. How you doing, Anu? So we're going to operate under the assumption that they would like to fix this. And we're going to file a bug for them. And see what they have to say. Bug. Changing duration of time picker does not send update event. Is that the right words? Change event. Changing the duration chooser of a time picker will update the text field presentation of the chooser. However, it does not update the does not trigger change events. This can be observed in the example from the docs. Change the units choose value via the chooser, no snack bar. Change the text box value. That's a spinner. Spinner value snack bar appears, but I don't think it actually. So if we do milliseconds, note that the units output in the snack bar are incorrect. Also, units output is not correct. When you change the units chooser. See if I've Englished correctly. The downside of learning a low-level language first and then a scripting language is that using Python can feel weird after learning C++ or another hard language. Yes. Yeah. They're, I would never tell somebody to learn C or C++ first, right? Just, I mean, you can. Like, if you really want to, then yeah, sure, go for it. But I would suggest to learn something with a little bit of a shallower learning curve. I'm doing good? Awesome. So my big personal problem with Golang is that I, first of all, don't feel a lot of joy when writing it personally. That is a personal problem. You should feel all of the joy. That is technically a good thing because programming languages are not designed to be fun. Disagree. But to get the job done. Yes, but also be fun and feel good and nice. However, Golang exaggerated a bit. Also, I feel like for beginners, tutorials are still really lacking, but that's a thing that gets better with time. Yeah. There are a couple stumbling blocks to it for sure. Let me make sure I have Englished correctly here. This is the unit. So let's change our wording here. The unit of a time picker. It's not send change event. The unit chooser of a time picker update the spinner's representation of the duration. Yeah. Which does not trigger the change event. Also, the unit's output is not correct when you change the unit's chooser. This should be from the docs. The duration.string output is not correct when you change the unit's chooser. And it would be observed in the example from the docs. Here's your linky link. Change the unit's value. View the chooser. No snack bar. It is a chooser, right? Making sure. Yes, correct. Change the spinner value. Snack bar appears. Note that the unit's output in the snack bar are incorrect. All of them, but that's fine. Hopefully I have English correctly. Life is good. This back over here. You're doing good. Awesome. I'm not sure if I read that already, but so many things happening. But it is awesome. Okay. We're going to let them worry about that. We're going to just work on the premise that this is okay for now. Go seems to have a good future, as I've been seeing a lot of questions recently about whether people should learn Go or Rust. Many students are considering Go for backend development. Awesome. Rust is kind of on my to-do list. I started learning some of it a while back, but at the time, the only jobs using it were like crypto stuff, and I wasn't interested in doing that. And it's still not everywhere, really. Like, it's becoming more of a thing. But their whole, the Rust Foundation and their, like, they when they got weird about what you could use, and like you couldn't use their mascot, and like all of that kind of gave me a bad taste for it, right? Of just like the guiding body behind it, which was just bizarre. But it's also kind of like the only thing doing what it's doing. Zig is also interesting, but kind of suffers from the same problems where like I don't know that I like the philosophy of the guy leading it so much, like his attitude to suggestions in his issues is don't suggest changes to the language, close. And I'm like, like I get it, and you're absolutely well within like your rights to do that with your project, right? I'm just not sure that I like that in a language that I wish to learn, right? And it's also still very new and doesn't have a lot of prospects right now. Like there's Tiger Beetle, I think, is the one, or I could be conflating that with a different company. There's somebody writing a database in it. I want to learn Go because of its cute mascot and its creator, Ken Thompson. I mean, sure. I learned Go because it was interesting. I enjoyed writing it kind of almost immediately. And then I got a job writing it, so that just kind of happened, and I was like, oh, awesome, you know? Primarily, I like it just because I really enjoy writing it. The other thing we need to do is on a reset. We need to reset this. So... we make changes directly to the fields, and that's kind of a problem. Oh, but this should be fixed. Okay, hang on. I think we fixed this when we fixed the other thing that's outstanding. So let's just do a commit. Hook up events to trigger display of unsaved changes text and to reload button and make reload button reload. Push that up. I personally know that if I would become a good programmer that knows what he was doing, I would switch to Rust or C++. Zig is also interesting. I just like to use Golang for learning and hoping that it would make me overthink stupid things less. But it's especially the lack of keywords that I just personally don't enjoy. What do you mean, keywords? Ah, right. Yes. Okay. So right now we're operating on a pointer to the data struct. We don't want to do that because it makes reloading more difficult. We want to operate on the copy, and then when we save things, then we want to write it to disk, right? Write it back to our file. So we need to dig that out of here. Data struct is a status effect. And I think we started on that, but didn't finish. Although maybe I'm already partially there. We'll have to figure it out. But I'm going to use the restroom really quick. So I'll be right back. Twitch, I'm going to fire you off ads while I'm AFK anyway to extend our runtime in before the next one. And yeah. That's better. You also just fix that. There we go. Okay, so widget. Widget. home screen, we don't need you. So we have a data manager, and then in here, ooh, we did already set you to use a copy, which is correct, but is slightly problematic. We need to figure out how that plays with this widget, because this widget modifies our copy, and then we lose our ability to reload. Which is tricky. And I don't want to store two of them, really. I could switch you to using a copy, but we don't really want that either. Well, so I miss enums. I do not get why there is not a simpler way to do error handling. There have been a lot of suggestions. A lot of them are great, not hard to read, no code rewriting needed, just better syntax. What would you want for simpler error handling? Would have heard of public-private keyword. Don't like the way you define methods on structs. I like Rust's way with the impl keyword. It's just personal preference. I'm still here after all, right? Like I get the public-private argument, but after you read it for a while, it just becomes a non-issue. And you can do enums, kind of. I do them semi-frequently. Let's see here. Where do I have one? I have one in right here, actually. No, I lied. Message Broker. Message Broker has them. You have to declare a type. In this case, it can just be an int. That's fine. It's just an enum, right? And then you declare constants that are the new type. And then iota is just shorthand for increasing these things. And then you can give them a stringer just for convenience. And that's kind of the hacky go enum way. I also have one enum. I just think it's stupid that way. It would not have made the language complicated if real enums would exist. It even adds complexity. I mean, kinda. Right. This. I was trying to figure out what I want to do with this. And I can't really. I guess I could switch this, but then we have to get data out of you. But maybe that's the best answer, right? We just wire it up, so on a save, we get it. So if we do all that, and then in here, we don't need to do anything to that. It's the... We'd have to get rid of that. What do we do here? Otherwise, we do that. Okay. I think that's okay. Should have errors here, though. Because it's no longer a pointer. No, it'll be in type gen. Status effects in the type gen. This is where it'll be broken. Or maybe not. It'd be in here. Sorry, wrong type gen. Yeah. That would need to change. Which, yeah, we shouldn't change the type gen. Let's just regenerate to make sure it's happy. But that should be all it's going to really do. For the error handling part, there was a blog post by the Golang team where they showed error handling suggestions they actually implemented for testing, however in the end abolished. Yeah, I read that, or part of it. I skimmed it. I think a lot of these ideas would have been great. Don't know if I should share links, but if you're interested, yeah, you can share links. That's fine. As long as it's nothing filthy and awful and horrible. Yeah, but they would have had to change stuff, right? And I just don't, it's not a big deal to me, you know? I don't think it's simpler to do that, really. Here we are. You would need to be also changed. Okay, generate done. Let's launch you. Go. Unsave changes. Roll back. Ooh, but that also doesn't change. Crap. It breaks that logic. I forgot about that. If I roll this back, all of y'all, like so. Type gen, and then you. Up here, we need to roll these back. Because this is wired up to change stuff. Then we get that. think we just might have to... If we did that, and then up here, we would have to pull data struct internal and then generate again to get rid of the convenience setter. And I'll fix that in a second here. So I should have refactored instead of just changing. That's fine. We'll just get out of the type gen so that we can write our own. Fix that. Fix that. Leave my strings alone. Leave my type gen alone. You came out of there, right? I think you're fine. Then we do... a method. This is the config manager status effect. This will return in the same way so that we can chain them. So we'd ID, or did it ID dot data struct equals data ID dot rollback data is also data. Return ID. Drat, I'm late. How's it going? Yeah, you're really late. We talked about Rust, and we briefly talked about Nix. Marco is off currently. Let's see here. Replacing Windows with Linux/NixOS. So we'll see in either, let's see, 12:27, in another hour or so, he'll either be back, because he's not back yet, unless he's quiet, or he's going to be hunting for boars and doing cave paintings for the month. Oh no, those are two fine topics indeed, right? They were tailor-made for you, and you were out doing whatever it is you're doing. Totally missing your opportunity. Oh, I also have some mixed feeling with the standard library. I think it's great if you know what you're looking for, else it's hell, in my opinion. I mean, well, you got to learn the libraries in anything, right? Another reason why I think Golang is not perfect for learners, but I really like that the library is straightforward, methods are much shorter, not a lot of abstraction, behavior doesn't change depending on what class you use, kind of, so I appreciate that, yeah. The thing that all other languages are missing, in my opinion, after having used Go, is a strong standard library. A couple of my friends were going to a Japanese restaurant, and they literally forced me to go with, practically at knife point. Nice. Was it one of the ones where they cook in front of you, or just like a normal nice place to eat? Okay, so we do that, and then when we click our reset button, we'll have to do our save button. We'll have to update this as well. But here, that, and then update. A normal one, but my particular meal was the sort that finishes cooking in front of you, a hot plate. Okay, that's totally worth it. And then let me make sure that we generate everything. I don't remember if I generated before I added the rollback data or not. I do really enjoy myself some Japanese food, Asian food in general. Very, very good, delicious. So I agree. When I had to use Java recently, I looked up how to easily convert a class to JSON and got suggested 5 plugins to use for that. Went back to Golang real quick after that. Yeah. Anyhow, I will do some lurkery while I finish my weekend chores and stuff, but I'll be checking back on occasion to see how the great Nix experiment goes. Ah, yes. Well, you enjoy your chores. Be productive, etc. And then we restore, and it works. And I kind of hate it, but it does work. I still believe in your game. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. This we also need to hook up. Apparently we forgot damage on tick. Spinner down here. When we create you on change, set on save changes. Let's run that real quick. Clicked on the wrong thing. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll roll with that. Let's do a quick commit for that. I think it's possible to roll back changes to the tick time effect duration. Effect duration. It's not really a great package name. We'll change that to widget. What do we want to call you? You're not really duration because you're also used for tick time, right? You are effect. Oh, your effect duration because you use a duration widget. effect. Time chooser. We're going to leave you duration, because you're a duration widget under the hood. And we'll just have to kind of try to remember that that is the case. Let's see what we've got going on here. Nothing crazy. Excellent. Yeah, it's fine. Let's do saving. Which I think we need to do out at this level because okay, so it's a good thing we saved or we handled the unsafe changes event here, because this is going to raise that changed event. So we need to stop it there, because right here at the save or the apply button, we need to do a couple things. Data struct equals, or rather, rollback data equals the data struct, so that we save our changes to there. Java slander. And then we need to send change. Oops. And there's no original event there. We're just doing a clicky click. Out here, we do that. We'll just fire a quick event to make sure that everything's wired up correctly really quick. Save clicked. Why did that fire 3 times? Something is changing. Something's fired change event. Run this again really quick. Something fires a change event there. You should set handle there. On change. You on change. On input we that's fine. When do these get oh no, we didn't click in anything. I guess these might be firing on change too. Let's see if we can find anything else before we go down that route, though. Change on change on change on change. I'm going to call you there. All of them. Okay. I guess we could try, spitting out the event as well and see if that gives us any clues. Be easier than turning on the event debugger because it'll be less noisy. In here, click on you. Severity is debug. Unable. That's right. Save click event change has a time and a handle. That's all it has. Okay. I bet you it's got to be these guys. Thought event had. I guess maybe it's just not part of the. Part of the base event. Let's see. Just to be sure. That's not what's triggering it. So it already fired there. Mouse over is triggering it. What? That makes no sense. Did I... Ah. You silly, silly mongoose. Oh my gosh. Can't keyboard today. That was silly, but it does make sense as to why I'd be firing a bunch of times. And then only one. Okay, perfect. Let's go take these out because they don't really need to be in here. We already fire on input. Okay, now, get rid of that. What we're going to do here is hook up to the config manager that we already have. So we have a data manager. Data manager knows how to save items, so we already hooked that up. We just need to do here. It's not ID, it's se.datamanager.save items. This returns an error. So let's do errors not nil. Message snack bar onto this context messages error saving effects error saving changes like so. So now here, this fly. We also need to fix that, but that's fine. If we go look at our server config status effects, did not duh, because this guy, we need to have you how do we want to do this? We can do that. That. And then here in our on click or our on change, the first thing we need to do is say that available items at I. And I think I have a thing for this because don't. I have new item, I've add item. But I've, and I could make sure that it doesn't exist already. And update if it does. I'm not sure if that's confusing or surprising behavior or not. But we can do this and say if current item dot if this is valid, and actually we should do this. Current item should always have a valid UUID. Let's make this thing a little loosey-goosey for now. And we can tighten it down if we need to. But we just say if the UUID is equal to item UUID at I equals item return Otherwise, if we get all the way through, we append it. And then over here, add item. Data. And we save. And we'll hope that that isn't silly and confusing. But we'll find out. Oh, apparently I dropped from Twitch briefly. That's cool. Good times. That doesn't happen in a little while. Did your internet just die for 3 minutes? Apparently. I didn't notice, though. Sometimes it happens. Frustrating. All right. So if I do that, whoop, that should write to status effects, but it hasn't. Why not? Did an error. Otherwise, we would have seen things. Should come up here just for visual organization, but apply button. Oh, I didn't bring this over, which shouldn't matter. Save items. Locks goes through, right config file path, available items. There's actually is a company in my area that requires 5 years experience in Visual Studio. What does that even mean? It means that good luck. And also probably that you don't really want to work there. Oh. A bunch of unable to send messages as well in the logs. Interesting. What's going on there? Oh gosh, everything's broken. It's on broadcast as well. We'll look at that in a minute. Means you're too obsessed with hating Visual Studio, so you manage to find companies that require it everywhere. Is it... We do that. Will that get written? No. Available items. Oops. Write config file. We don't get any errors coming back from this. And this should be erroring at that step. Just for a test, we'll do updated here. Oh, you know what? I'm silly. That's why. Item updated. But we've never done... We need to set our data struct here because we're not bound to it. So we either need to bind to it or we need to manually set it. This is special because it's the UUID, which we don't allow you to change. Can we do, for example, though, a bind here? This. Oh my gosh. Comment. There we go. It's not implement value. Okay. Look at the docs for bind again. I gotta figure that out. Because I think that's the correct answer. But, you know. Is it in concepts? It is. Technically, that's the first offer I ever found where they require experience in an IDE at all. I'm just searching for the job where they search experience in NeoVim. That's where I pounce. However, just found a company whose biggest requirement is that you are passionate about software development and open for technologies. Their stack is Delphi and C# with the .NET framework. Yeah, a lot of that I hear. Bind. So I've done this backwards. That's part of my problem. There we go. And let's run that and see if that will be sufficient. Forgot to put you in there. That's a problem. There we go. Okay, now apply There we go. So we can do that. Let's take test back out. So we just need to do that for these. Strings we might have to do manually, but we'll see. Not the label, but the text. And because we did the swappy back and forthy, we should be okay. So accidental. New text. Field. In W. So we accidentally fixed it ahead of time. Styler is field styler. You don't have one because you want to be a little shorter. Okay. Now, can I... Don't know if I can do this with aligns. Let's find out. New. Does not implement node base. So what we need to do here is on our input, we do that, and then we do help text equals this, like so. This one, I'm a little sus of. Alright, that little job hunt was depressing enough. Yes. So I'm probably going to go lay down and watch some stuff. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Cool. Have a great night. We'll catch you tomorrow. Just realized lay down and watch some stuff really does not sound good. I mean, laying in bed and watching TV is fairly normal. Like so. Let's see if that works real quick first. I don't know if I can bind to that one in that same way. I mean, editor doesn't complain, but... Stacks with other is true and then false. So that's correct. And then if I apply that, it does get set. Okay. I'll take it. Apparently I'm eating hair now. Excellent. So, that being the case, we can do this. You are stacks with self, like so. Ooh, I probably don't need this, right? Should check that first. Check, check, uncheck, check. That's correct. This, um, type chooser we don't do anything with. This, destruct dot property to modify ID equals property chooser dot current item dot value typecast to that just that. Wait, no. Big manager, status effects. Yeah, you are null UUD, so we can do that. And then the type chooser, like we still trigger the UI stuff on it, but it doesn't actually have any bearing on anything until this guy gets changed. So then modifier. Bind you to a struct.modifier. And then theoretically I can get away with getting rid of that. It should still show me a modifier. -1, 0. Apply you. Now you're 2. Now you're 0. Perfect. Duration. Don't don't know if I can override this. We'd have to look at something like a spinner. On bind. Okay. So does that make sense? Where do they use tags here? this shouldn't matter. For this. We still need it to implement the interface, but we can just do if we look at the spinner, it has a text field. Can I just do what if I just do this? I can't do that because you're not pointer to a string. We would need to that. If we do that, still need to set label, still need to do the styler, but on bind, or not the, or not bind, places this. Widget value. Widget value. Just, okay. So that. That. But because you're already a pointer, I think I can just do that. Let's find out. So duration value. Apply that. Twitch fell over again? Holy cow. Oh no, it didn't clear my notification. Here we go. Still 26 minutes on the clock for this launch. All right. That's right. Status effects. Just looking at the JSON duration of 1 second, which is correct. And if we go up to 5, click apply. It doesn't seem to have changed. I can turn it to 0. This part's working. I think. Because on change here, we don't write to it. We need to get docs for my it's a time picker, duration input, duration dot string, but I would need to do dereference you. But I want this to parse duration. Well, no, because this I can't do that. It's already going to do that. Let's just do this for now, and get it working, and then we'll try to figure out a way to fix up their weirdness with their duration output. So here, duration, apply, 2 minutes now. That's correct-ish. There it is. And if I was to get rid of you, then you would go away. Let's put that back. So our bind is working. We just need to fix up that stuff. That's fine. Oops, that's the other tick time value here. If I could spell, it would work a little better. And then damage per tick value container here. Bind. Data struct. Damage per tick. That goes away. Tick time value on change, we do that. This we bind to b.datastruct dot blocks logout. Now you should not have a duration. This is set to blocks logout. That's correct. If we change it, that goes to false. Put it back. True. Okay, perfect. Let's fix this because it's annoying me. Apply button, we do that. We send the change. We do that. Status bar updates. In here, do that. Apply. That goes away now. Perfect. Okay. Let's do a quick commit here. Make sure there's no changes in here. Doesn't look like it. I don't see JSON in there either. Wire up. Apply button. And data saving. All right. Think that's all fine. We just need to get this wonkiness out of here. Duration input. Let's fix this up if we can. This is bound to unit. Binds W to unit. Duration units map times the unit, or at the key of unit. Value. What if can I set step on you? No. Can I... How can I round you? Hmm. So we've timed out round. For that, I need a time. Not a duration. Takes a duration. So what we would need to do is